Okay, good morning, JNUC. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming. Just before we get started, to let you all know that if you need live captioning or language translation, there's a printed QR code in the back by the table by the camera. So let's get started. Welcome, good morning. Hopefully everyone had a good night, got some breakfast this morning. My name is Kevin Green. I'm a director of channel sales here at Jamf. This session is titled, as you can see, K-12, Jamf in a Chromebook and Windows World. And we are joined by our friends from Naperville Community School District, a huge school district outside of Chicago. This session is really near and dear to my heart as well. I have two kids in K-12 that use Chromebooks. I also, I live in Chicago, which is right down the street from Naperville, kind of. It's a long street, I guess, if you're familiar with the Chicagoland area. But we're going to get started. Today we have two speakers. First, we have Stephen Drabik, who is the manager of user support, and Toni Ellison, who is the senior support analyst. So throughout the session, if you do have questions, I'll be around with a mic at the end. So you feel free to just raise your hand, and I'll bring the mic over to you. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our friends from Naperville, Stephen and Toni. It's all yours.
Got to turn myself on. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. This is our first time doing something like this in front of a large crowd, and I was just telling Toni, my coworkers, that oh my gosh, I hope at least one person shows up, right? But we got a few more, so thank you very much. My name is Steve Drabik. I am the manager of user support for Naperville 203. When Toni put together this slide, I told her, make my head bigger, and she didn't, right? A little bit about myself. I've been with Naperville for 15 years now as the user support manager. Absolutely wonderful team. My wife is an administrator in a local school district as well called Plainfield. I've got two beautiful daughters who go to Plainfield as well. Anybody from the Chicago or Illinois area? You are all very lucky, because it's getting cold again. Anyways, that's me. Who is Naperville? Naperville is a school district just outside of Chicago, about 30 minutes west of Chicago. If you go down I-88 or I-55, you're going to hit Naperville 203. We have 17,500 kids, roughly, and we have 23 schools. One of those is our early childhood center, or else a preschool. Yeah. Oh. Okay. One of them is a preschool. We have 14 elementary schools, 5 junior highs, obviously 2 high schools, and a transition center. Transition center is for the kids after they graduate high school who need a little bit of extra help after they graduate. Many of our schools are blue ribbon schools through the federal government. Tech in D203. We have a lot of it, right? We are blessed with a very affluent district and an affluent community. And with that, we've got 17,000 Chromebooks in students' hands from second grade through senior and high school, right? It's 1-to-1. We also have about 3,500 or so Windows devices. Most of those are in our staff members' hands. We also have specialty labs for kids to use mostly at the high schools for CAD and programming, et cetera. And then, while we're here, 350 MacBooks. Most of them are in teachers' hands. We put them into art teachers' hands, music teachers' hands, certain administrators, not all of them, but certain ones. 7,500 iPads. Wow, that's huge for us. That's big. Our preschool, kindergarten, and first graders all have an iPad. We do 1-to-1 right now with that. They don't use them all the time, right? They don't have them in their hands all the time, but they have them available just for them. They also take them home with them, just in case. We live in Chicago, so what happens in Chicago? It snows, right? Snow days, so they're able to take them home. We also have about 20,000-ish other devices. We have prepped all of our classrooms to be the same going across our entire district. Every classroom's got a projector Every classroom's got a smart board. Every classroom's got a document camera, a docking station, and also an audio system. Kind of like what I'm wearing now. The teacher can talk at a regular volume and be able to hit the entire crew or the entire class. So, who takes care of all of this, this support? This is my team, the user support group. Our first line of defense, our TSAs. And no, they don't work at the airport. Our TSAs, Technology Support Associates, they are our first line of defense, and they help out anything that kids and students and staff come to them with. If it has a battery or if it plugs into the wall, they're coming to them for it. Then we also have our senior support analysts, which is technically a level 2, which you're going to meet Toni here in a second. They take care of anything that our TSA on the first level can't handle themselves or need a little bit of extra support with. But they also do special projects, and obviously we're here for it. One of Toni's special projects is my Jamf/Apple expert. Here's our team. This is a great team. Absolutely everybody in here, we feel this is a close-knit family, and I think that's really important when you're looking at building a team for technology, especially in the school district. You have to have that close-knit feeling, and I definitely think that we've got that. We've got a technology support associate in every one of our buildings anytime kids are in session. So that's 23 TSAs in every building. We also have 11 support analysts like Toni, also like Lou's sitting here. I had to call her out, right? She's sitting here. We have 11 support analysts that rotate throughout the buildings for assistance. So you all are really bored with what I'm saying about all this stuff. I want to get into, pass it over to Toni, and she's going to give you a little bit more of the interesting stuff. Toni, come on. Toni Ellison, sport analyst.
I'm Toni Ellison. I've been working for 203 for about three and a half years. In my former life, I was a system administrator. I worked on websites for political and nonprofit organizations in the District of Columbia. I'm an Apple specialist, and I am Jamf 300 certified. Karen was supposed to be here. We left her slide in. Her husband decided to have emergency surgery, so I'm going to take over her stuff for today, but sad. So I'm going to explain to you about the different environments that we have, mainly Google, Windows, and Apple. We're primarily a Google school district, so which means all of our students and our staff members have a Google account, and with almost unlimited data. So with that unlimited data, we encourage everybody, staff and students, to back up every single file they may use or may think they'd want to use later to their Google Drive. We tell them we're not responsible for any data that is lost on your computer, and we have data loss all the time. Our students from 2 through 12 all have Chromebooks, and I mainly work at the high school, and we have a lot of high school students that come in, say that settings are wrong on their Chromebooks, and we have to power wash for whatever reason. And because our students usually have all their stuff backed up, that's not a problem. All of our MacBooks have Google Drive for Desktop installed on them, and when I deploy a MacBook to a staff member, I will go ahead and set up their Google Drive for them, and then I will back up their computer to Google Drive. We do use Google Admin to administrate all of the student accounts and their Chromebooks. And we use Active Directory to manage our staff accounts. Staff technically have a Google account and a Microsoft Active Directory account, but we have them sync all the time, so the staff doesn't know they have 2 accounts. It's all synced together, and they just use the one password, so everything's happy. Our Windows computers, they sync up with Active Directory all day long. But our Mac environment only syncs up about 3 to 4 times a day, which can be a problem in the beginning of the school year, because when we have students in the high school that want to use our lab machines, they have to have an Active Directory password. So we have to make arrangements with them or the teachers to get them set up with that. Our high schools have, so all of our art and music teachers have a MacBook. And at the junior high and elementary level, they also have iPad carts. So the students will do their little assignments, maybe draw something for art, and they'll airdrop it to their teachers' MacBooks. At the high school level, we have between 2 and 4 Mac labs, and those are used for things like the Yearbook, student newspaper, digital art, music production. They're using Ableton. What's funny though is at one high school, they have a really nice Windows setup for their Ableton music production, and the other high school is using it's beautiful Mac computers, but this cheesy little MIDI keyboards, and I don't really know where the disconnect is in there. I'd rather take that class at the high school I work at because they have better stuff. Last summer, 2024, we were up for an iMac refresh. So I had about 2 to 3 weeks during the summer to actually make this switch with the physical hardware and the actual software. So in the spring, I'd spent a lot of time working on policies that would allow the computers to auto-enroll, auto-name, and from there they would put themselves in smart groups, and then they would get their network information, and then lastly they'd get the software. And it was almost like magic. I'm actually still amazed that I made this happen. But I attribute that to the knowledge I received when I took the Jamf 200 and 300 classes. I couldn't have done that unless I had that knowledge. So similarly, around that time, we had just swapped over our Windows management from SCCM to Intune. And it's been a painful transition for us. And we just got all the computers moved into Intune, and things weren't working 100%. But last summer, my coworker, Dan, let me back up a little bit. Usually every summer at the high school, we will erase and re-enroll the 250 Windows desktop machines. Get things freshened up, maybe we remove all the student garbage they put on there. And that summer, when we had just moved into Intune, Dan's like, let's not just blow them away, let's just find 6. So unfortunately for us, he took the 6 computers in the classroom of our fussiest, crabby teacher. And we struggled with those all summer. So we didn't do the rest of the labs. And last school year, we spent the entire time, we were going out of that lab trying to fix these 6 computers. And we finally wiped them off in June, and they seem fine now. So compare that with our sister high school, who at the same time decided they were gonna re-enroll most of their computers. And they struggled a lot. It was a nightmare, because school started, and the computers aren't ready, and the teachers are freaking out, the students can't log in, and it was awful. But fast forward to now, and their computers are working really well, and things are great. However, at my high school, just about 3 weeks ago, on a Monday morning, 4 computers just randomly dropped out of Intune, and these computers were completely unusable for 4 of our accounting students for the entire week. And we had struggled to get them back in, and now our teacher is afraid that this is gonna happen again. And it might. We don't 100% know why this is happening with Intune. And so I'm afraid of my worst nightmare, which is imaging an entire lab in the middle of the school year. And this could be my future, so you should pray for me. All right, so our Windows environment. Every staff member, the staff that are not music and art, they get a Dell computer. We're swapping over to Dells. And each high school has about 3 to 4 Windows labs. And those are used for our career and technical education classes. And those classes are usually using Adobe, so Photoshop, Premiere, and they're using the Autodesk suite. So they're using AutoCAD, Inventor, Fusion, I think is the new one that we're using right now. And this actually works pretty well for some of these computers. Some of our students will take a digital art class and they'll be using our iMacs. And they'll go ahead and open up a file in Photoshop, and it works great, and they'll upload it to their Google Drive, because we tell them all to save in Google Drive. And they'll go home and use the Windows computer, and they'll pull it down in their version of Photoshop, and they can make edits and put it back up. And then the next day they'll go use their Mac to pull the file down again. And it actually works really well for them. Not all of the Adobe apps work that well, but Photoshop does. I've been working with Jamf for about 3 years, and only about 1.5 years with Intune. And every time I get into the Windows environment, which is almost every day, I am so thankful for Jamf, because it has just made my life so much easier. It is stable. Intune's easy enroll feature errors out, it times out. Intune is slow to find computers on the network. I'm always told we have to wait until the servers feel like it. I'm tired of hearing that. And Windows 11 now is always updating. Always updating. And it's bringing some of our teachers' computers to its knees. There's nothing worse than having a teacher come to our window and say, I can't project, audio's not working, I did my updates. So we run down there, and lo and behold, there's more updates. And a lot of times we're having to give them another Dell. It's just crazy. And I'm not having this trouble with my Apples at all. It's, maybe I'm just that good, but I don't think that's it. So last year was my first year coming to JNUC, and I had a great time, and it changed how I do everything. I learned about the Jamf App Catalog, and it has about 200 common applications most people use. So we've got Chrome, there's Zoom, we use Blender in our CTE classes, Cricut, you name it. And I just love the simplicity of this, because I set it up in Jamf, I scope it to my computers, and every time there's an update, it just magically happens. Chrome is one of those programs that updates 2 or 3 times a week. Drives me a little crazy, but I don't have to do anything about it. Just get a cute little thing in the window, upper right-hand corner. You need to update your Chrome, close your browser. I do, it updates in 30 seconds, and we're done. I wish everything was like this. This has just changed my world. I love it so much. Oh, one more thing about that. I used to have something called, what I called my Adobe day. And Adobe is so big. I would spend my whole day, I'd log into the Adobe console, I would download all the Adobe stuff, I would unpackage it, I would have to repackage it, I'd have to upload it, and it took all day. And now with Jamf App Catalog, it doesn't update like it does with Chrome, but it has the newest version. And as long as it's scoped, it'll pull down. And I'll have the most recent versions in self-service. And so staff and students can go ahead and download the most recent if they want to. Another thing I've noticed with the Jamf App Catalog, when I was repackaging Adobe, it would work, but then after sometimes a few days or a few weeks or even 6 months, that package that I had created would stop working. It would give these weird errors. And I could never figure out what I was doing wrong. But I've never had this problem since I switched over to the Jamf App Catalog. So similar thing with the App Store, because the Jamf App Catalog only holds about 200 plus, we have over 1,000 apps sitting in our Jamf. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. We purchase what we need in our Apple School Manager. We scope what we want to all the different devices and computers, and it comes down and it will go do the updates. We have Microsoft products. Microsoft we could be doing in Jamf App Catalog or our App Store. We just are using it in the App Store. Someone else set it up and I'm just continuing it. GarageBand, Keynote, Numbers, and MainStage, we use that a lot. Our music teachers will use that for musicals and big productions, things like that. One thing that I have seen a problem with is on our iPads, a lot of times the apps don't update like I would like them to, and a teacher will let me know, and I'll just go into Jamf myself and just push the button to push the updates, and it goes, and I don't really hear anything after that. It seems to work just fine. So can our Apple and Windows admins work together? Of course we can. We can be friends. So my team of 11 support analysts. So we all have different projects. We have audio-visual, there's Windows management, Apple management, there's assistive tech, which is our device management for our special education students. My boss makes fun of Apple, but look at him. He's right here at Apple conference. He has all the things. He's got a phone, an iPad Pro, and this lovely MacBook that he says he doesn't like, but he carries it around everywhere he goes. He even brought it to the conference. I mean, you can't beat Apple. And then there's our director who hates Apple and wants to get rid of it. My coworker Dan has been teasing me for years about Apple. I do like Apple, but I'm not married to it. I don't know why he thinks he's making fun of me, it's gonna hurt my feelings. But it's all in good fun. We both have 3D printers. His is named Bill Gates, mine is named Steve Jobs. It's cute. But in all of the back and forth between Windows and Apple, our curriculum department, which is who we work for, they're the ones that decide if we have Apple or not. And they realized the benefit of having it for our schools. It's used in industry. We want the kids to have a feel for it and know how to use everything. So they get to stay with some moanings and groanings from the higher ups, but they'll be okay. And as much as I would like to stay in my Apple bubble, I would love to never touch a Windows computer again. In our school district, I can't do that because we have so many more Windows computers. I mean, I'm only managing 10% of all the devices we have. But luckily, our IT department, our user management group, they all know Windows, and so we're all working together to try to manage them together. And that's why I really appreciate the patch management from Jamf, because I can only spend about 25% of my time working on Apple, and so Jamf allows me to be able to do that. So one problem with me only working on about 10% of our devices is I get left out a lot. And I haven't figured out if this is accidental or on purpose. They'll make decisions, they'll have discussions, they'll have meetings, and they forget to invite me. So we had some new software that they wanted rolled out, and I didn't know much about this software. I was just told, this is happening, here's the software, fix it up for Mac. So I put it in there, I tested it on my devices, but I didn't even know what the software did. It was just, it's very vague software. So I had our networking team kind of look at it, and he's like, it looks good. So I promptly forgot about it. No one said anything more about it, so I just put it somewhere. So they had the big meeting. Our security department had a huge meeting with our higher ups. So the superintendent's there, and the assistant superintendents, and the principals, and the assistant principals, they're all there. And all the Mac users are like, where's the software? I don't see it. Because no one told me what to do with it. I mean, was I supposed to put it everywhere? Is it for students? Is it for staff? Is it for admins? I don't know. So after this meeting, I got a phone call saying, where's the software? Luckily, because Jamf is so wonderful, I was able to push it all to the right people in about 10 minutes. So, live and learn, I guess. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story kind of about this software. Our district recently purchased a crisis emergency alert system called Centegix. Has anyone heard of this? Anyone used this software, Centegix? Yeah? So I was told, do it for the Mac. My coworker did it for Windows. And the district spent months training our staff on what to do and how this software works. But we didn't have any real drills on it. We didn't have any real alerts on it. We just had a lot of theory and optimism. So one morning, I was in my office about 10 minutes before school's about to start, and the alarm goes off. And my MacBooks and my iMac, they go off like a Christmas tree, lit up, bright, flashing, and they hear the alarm and run outside, make sure everyone's safe, it's okay, it's a false alarm, go back in. And my coworkers are all standing around with their new Dells. And they're like, they're silent, they're calm, and blissfully unaware that we had just had an emergency. Meanwhile, all of my Macs, they did their job. And after that, my Windows counterpart spent days, weeks, maybe a couple of months trying to figure out why this wasn't working on the Windows machines. And again, I'm just grateful it just works. I packaged it up. I didn't even know what the software was or what to expect from it, but it still just worked with Jamf. And I'm just, I'm a little smug. We're just better. This is better. Okay, so my director, not my boss, this is my boss, this is director. He's what I call grandpa boss, because he's my boss's boss, grandpa boss. Yeah? All right, so he wants the elusive single pane of glass. Who loves a single pane of glass? I'm kind of tired of listening about it, all right? I feel like it's this buzzword. I know it's like the goal, the dream. So I was kind of, the way he's talking about it, he wants this new Intune structure we've got. He's like, hey, how about if we put all of our Apple stuff in there? It would be a great idea, right? And so he's like, we'll have a single pane of glass. So I looked up what he actually meant by the single pane of glass. And this is what IBM.com says for what the definition of a single pane of glass. A unified dashboard or platform that provides a comprehensive view of an organization's technology, infrastructure, applications, and services, allowing for centralized monitoring, management, and troubleshooting. It sounds like a lot of words for put everything in the same control panel. So I started doing a little bit of research on his request. And I started thinking to myself, I was a little skeptical because why would a company want to put a lot of time, effort, and money into managing their competition's product well? So in my research, I learned there's a lot less flexibility, creating policies and profiles. Everything that goes in Intune has to be wrapped and packaged, especially for Intune. So there's no such thing as a Jamf App Catalog. So there goes all my free time. There's no pre-stage enrollment. Again, when I have my Jamf, all of my Apple computers, they check in every 5 minutes. With Intune, it's like, whatever, I feel like it, I'll get there someday. Jamf is the industry standard. So for iOS management and Mac OS, that's what we use. And also, large companies such as Microsoft, Apple, IBM, they all use Jamf to manage their Mac fleets. So came to the conclusion that if I was going to have Intune manage any of our devices, I would be comfortable with having one of our smaller labs, maybe our Yearbook lab or maybe our music production lab. That wouldn't be a problem. But all of our computers across our entire district, it would be awful for me. I would be spending 100% of my time managing all these devices. And my time is needed with all the Windows things, so I can't do that. So this wonderful quote, there's a correct tool for every job. No job is hard when you have the right tools. And that is a direct quote from my father, Victor G. Wareham. Wise, wise man. So let's move on to devices. We have about 400 iPhones that we are managing. We get our iPhones from Verizon, and they are kind enough to put everything into the Apple School Manager, so we don't have an extra step there. We don't keep a stockpile of phones. When we have new hires, we go ahead and order new phones for them. And we do provide a white glove type service for them. So we go and work with them. We help them with backups. We'll transfer everything. So we have about 3 different smart groups for these people that have the phones. We have our administrators. That includes our superintendent, assistant superintendent, our principals, assistant principals, and they get software, things like building cameras and crisis alert management system. Then we have our health staff in the health office. That'd be nurses and health techs. And they usually get software so they can help manage student diabetes or student seizures, all this different monitoring. And then they'll communicate with the parents via text, especially if they have students that are having a lot of medical issues. And our custodial staff, buildings and grounds, they will use the phones they don't use any special apps, but they will use YouTube all the time to do repairs. They'll take pictures of things for trying to purchase parts or site work, things like that. So I'll tell you a little story about one of our assistant superintendents. It's a beautiful sunny day last March, and she decided to go play golf. So she got a round in, and she had so much fun that she dropped her phone on the green and she left it. And that night, it snowed a lot. Because in Illinois, springtime in Illinois, every day is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what kind of weather you're gonna get every day. And instead of coming to us and saying, I lost my phone, she kept going back day after day looking for this phone. And so finally Wednesday came and she still hadn't found this phone. So she let us know. And we sent out the Find My Phone feature in Jamf, and another patron came around, heard the phone, picked it up, turned it into the Pro office. And I wish our people would let us know when these things happen. I mean, I'm amazed that this little phone could sit in the snow and had enough battery power to still give off an emergency alert, come find me, after 4 or 5 days. And we're gonna make fun of you if you're gonna do that, so you might as well just tell us sooner than later. I mean, I'm just kidding, we don't make fun of everybody. We love all of our staff. Okay, so working with children in the school district, I hope you guys all know about all these privacy acts. Let's see, did I skip one? No. The main ones are COPPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and that restricts restricts children, online data collection for children under 13. Another one is FERPA, which is the Family Education Right and Privacy Act of 1974. And that protects student education records from kindergarten until graduate school. And then SOPPA, which is what we follow in the state of Illinois, it's the Students Online Personal Protection Act. This has been really hard for us. We have over like 1,000 apps for our iPads. It's like the wild, wild west for us. It has been for years. As a teacher will go to a conference, I really want this really cool app, or there's apps everywhere, and some of them are really bad, and they want them anyway. So we got that whittled down to 250. And our school district finally decided they needed to get serious about making sure we're using the correct apps and they're not collecting the data of our little kids. And they hired an instructional technology coordinator, and she's been fantastic. She's a really wonderful liaison between IT and our learning services department. And so she's been working really hard to whittle that 1,000 down to 250, which we just kind of had thrown all over the district, and now we're down to 30. And these have all been vetted, checked, and now we have different processes in place through our help desk that if teachers want a new app, they have to go through our help desk to request it. And it's not really a quick process, and we're trying to get the teachers used to planning ahead. Not, I want this app next week, I got a lesson. It's, how about next year? So let's plan ahead to something, okay? So if you guys have, I'd like to hear how you guys are managing this type of thing. Like, when this is over, like, please come and find me. I'd love to hear good solutions for this. I mean, we're doing the best. I have no idea. So at the elementary level, our lower kindergartners and first graders, they all have iPads, 1-to-1, mainly used for testing, because we test 3 times a year, which is a lot. They have the shared carts for our library, that's what LC stands for, and our music and art. And the junior highs, they have the art cart, and they also have another iPad cart shared with the library and with music. One thing we've been experimenting with the iPads is instead of having 1 million iPads and just kind of having all the apps on them and people can just kind of pick whatever they want, we're trying to do dedicated iPads. So they might have one for English as a second language students, so for translation. So we just have a few translation iPads at every school. We also will do different programs like Lego We Do, and so we have just the Lego iPads. We're trying to kind of wean the staff off of iPads for all. We're trying to have just the dedicated, like this is for this is for that. You may borrow and you have to share, okay? And it's gonna take some time to kind of get that to everybody, but we're kind of hoping this will cut back on the mass production of iPads everywhere. We do Apple School Manager and Jamf. We talked about how they work together. We do use Mutt all the time. My coworker Karen, who is supposed to be here, she uses OneDrive a lot. She'll create the Mutt files on her Dell computer, and then she'll put them up into OneDrive and then pull it back down on her Mac, and then she uses Mutt and runs Mutt. So if she was here, she'd explain more about how she does it. I just use a Mac. And we have, we talked about all that. All right, so that's our little window of how we use Chrome, Apple, Windows, and Google. So I hope it helped you a little bit. Do you have any questions?
Okay, I have a mic right here. Let me pass it around.
Thank you. With all those devices that you do manage, do you require them to have a second form of authentication to log in?
So when they do the Chromebooks, they do authenticate using their Google accounts. And we can all manage that really easily using the Google admin. But if they're using a lab computer, then they are using Active Directory, which is a separate account. And so then we have to reset those passwords for them. So the kids figure out that they do have 2 accounts, one for their Chromebook and one for their lab machine. When it comes to the iPads, we actually do not have them log into anything. That's something we've been looking at and kind of struggling with. Maybe looking at Apple IDs, but we haven't gotten very far with it. So no, we're not. Are you using that? Yes. Oh, we should talk.
All right, we have another question.
Hey, very similar situation, K-12. Do you guys use Jamf Pro or School?
We're using Jamf Pro. We were inspired by a talk last year, and we were looking into Jamf School. We had a little issue with one of our kindergartners, and we were kind of hoping that having the teachers have more hands-on with Jamf School would help us. But after doing some research, we actually liked Jamf Pro better, maybe because we're more used to it. And we also, looking at how you would set up Jamf Teacher, we were having this vision of all these teachers saying, it's too hard, can you do it for us? And we can't do that. We're swamped. So we haven't really gone far. We're gonna not do Jamf Teacher for right now, or Jamf School.
Okay, any other questions? Yep, got another one.
So since you guys have so many Windows devices, how do you guys handle, say, like lockdown browser? Like they work perfectly fine on Macs and iPads, but with Windows, you need local admin access. And I mean, you can give them that access for a certain period of time, but they probably take tests at different times. So do you guys run into that issue? If you do, how do you resolve that?
So we have a filter on our computers. What's it called?
Lightspeed.
We have a Lightspeed installed on all the computers and the Chromebooks. And so that's our main filtering, try to help with all of that. With the staff, if they want to have more things on their computer, they want different apps, we do have certain ones that they can download from company portal. But for the most part, if they want something, they have to come to one of us and get an admin password to get it put on. We're trying to kind of stop a lot of this wild things that the staff want all the time, which is kind of hard because staff have a hard time realizing that that's not your computer. Like, I know that you think it is, but it's not. And so you can't have anything you want on it. And I'm amazed at how many people retire and don't have an email address. Like, they don't have their own email. And they have to go and dig one and create a new one. They're like 60 years old.
That's the other reason why we say save to your Google Drive. Do not save to your desktop. Do not save to your to your computer. I've had one principal come to me losing her doctoral thesis, another one losing a wedding video. I tell it to every single new teacher that we hire, do not save directly to the machine.
Yeah, we do have a lot of filtering software, and so just with YouTube alone, you can go through YouTube on our network, and it'll tell you this is approved by Naperville 203, this is not approved by 203. And with the little kids, I have children in our school district. My 7th grader, I mean, he's limited on what he can look at on his Chromebook. I do wish we could block more things. I mean, he watches way too much YouTube. I'm actually embarrassed to tell you how much he watches. But we do have things called racks, which I can't remember what RAC stands for.
Restricted access containers.
Yes, that.
We call them penalty boxes. You know, you're putting in a penalty box.
But so if students are misbehaving, we'll put them in a rack, usually at the request of principal or a dean. But sometimes parents will say what I just said, I don't want my kid looking at YouTube all the time. And they will preemptively request them to be in this rack. Unfortunately, when they are in elementary and junior high, and that's not really a big deal, but at the high school level, especially freshmen, we'll get them coming in, and the teacher in their class is trying to show them a video, and they can't watch this video that their entire class can watch. And it's usually because they're in a rack. Even the lowest rack can really interfere with the way they can use their Chromebook online. Does that answer your question at all? Kind of? Okay.
All right, Richard has a question.
Thank you, I enjoyed the talk. This isn't so much Jamf related, but regarding your thousands and thousands of Chromebooks, do you have a provider that gives you white service, or how do you provision those Chromebooks?
I think we just do it.
Yes, we do it. I've got a very robust staff that takes care of all these. My technology support associates who work only during the school year. They only work 38 years, so they're in school whenever kids are in school. I hire them back for the summers, and they're the ones who take care of that. I mean, for white glove through the vendor that we were going through, it was just too expensive to be able to use them instead of use my own people who are looking to be able to continue work for the summer. So spend money with a vendor or spend money with our own people, and that's the way we chose to go.
And we do have a refresh cycle for everything. So we are refreshing the high schools this coming summer. And we used to do it every 3 years. So just go high school, junior high, elementary, and then start over again. But now we're trying to squeeze 4 years out of these Chromebooks. And we're gonna make it. But the warranty's up in November. We're gonna totally make it. But the warranty's up in November, and we're gonna have to do a lot of own repairs, and we're gonna try to get these Chromebooks to the finish line.
Okay, another question in the front. Great.
Hi, more on technical side, I'm curious because you made the choice of Jamf Pro for education instead of Jamf School. With so many devices, how do you rename them? Because there is no such kind of placeholder in Jamf Pro. You cannot mass rename devices. So do you use the API or do you use a custom enrollment authentication where you force anyone at the enrollment to authenticate? And if that's the path you chose, what about the fact that Google and Microsoft now wants to enforce MFA?
Okay, let me make sure I heard your question properly. You want to know how we rename all of our devices?
Yes.
Okay, so for the Windows side or the
iPad and Mac side, yeah.
So in general, we're supposed to be naming them D203, and then we have asset number. So every device has its own asset number. So so they all have their own identity when they're in Active Directory. Close your ears, Steve. But for the Macs, I have not been doing that. I like to name them with a code for the actual building they're in, so it's easier for me to find where they are. But we also have a lot more information in Jamf on those than we do in Intune, because I have the building and who has it and all this stuff. Well, we kind of do that in Intune. The second part, it was.
Is how you rename them, because for the iPad you cannot mass rename them in Jamf Pro.
Yeah, we basically made everything has their asset number as their ID. So we tried it doing serial number at one point, and that was a mess. But we do it on asset number.
All right, another question.
So you mentioned saving everything to Google Drive, but you also mentioned a colleague using OneDrive. So how do you manage multiple?
Oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. So on our Windows devices, we set up OneDrive to do all of our backups. And that's been really nice for us because we've had a lot of failures with our Dells. And so if a staff member has everything backed up to OneDrive and we have to swap out their Dell, we open up OneDrive and give it some time and it all comes back. We did have an issue where we're kind of decided whether we're going to back up to Google or we're going to back up to OneDrive. And so we had some computers doing both. But something shorted in there, and Google was erasing things from itself and also OneDrive. Like files were just disappearing. It was like the sync was off. So we decided that we will do backups to OneDrive for the Windows machines, backups to Google for the Macs. We don't use OneDrive for the Google, for the Mac. We don't use, OneDrive for Mac backups. I did some research on that, and I saw a lot of people complaining that OneDrive would corrupt their Mac. Has anyone seen that or heard of that? It freaked me out, so I just didn't do it. I didn't want to have someone's computer just be messed up. So that's what's been working for us.
All right, got a question over here.
Hi, just curious what your summer looks like. Do you guys collect all the devices? Do you guys let them go home? What does that process look like for you guys?
Shorts, T-shirts, movies, the pool. That's usually what teachers say. Hey, enjoy your summer. Oh my God, this is our crazy time.
Each school, high school versus elementary is completely different.
Yeah.
I work at the high school, and I feel like I'm almost on vacation compared to my counterparts at the elementary, and I kind of feel sorry for them, but I mean, it is what it is. But at the high school, we have a couple of student interns always come and help us. And so we get the seniors that turn in their Chromebooks, and they always have to be gone through and look for damages and broken screens, and they clean off the stickers. And those our intern can usually go through that in about 3 to 4 weeks. And next year is going to be a refresh year. So we're going to be refreshing about 3,000 devices. So we're probably going to hire more interns, and it's just going to be like shelling them out of the boxes and everything. But then when you get
203 does a 3-year refresh cycle. High schools go first, the next year our junior high level, and then the next year after that, the elementary level. So we're constantly always doing it. But now since we went to a 4-year refresh cycle, we do have one off year, which was this year.
Yeah.
But we're going to be getting right back into that this upcoming summer. Oh God, I want it to be summer already again. And it's going to be extremely busy. Yeah, like Toni said, we're going to be hiring extra student workers. I've got support analysts who are also working during the summer, and it's a lot of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, elementary is a little different. We have groups of people that go to each school, and they will make the round like 2 or 3 times, and they will clean up the iPads and the Chromebooks, and it's a lot of work for them.
Excellent, excellent. We're out of time, but first off, thank you so much, Steve and Toni, for just the great insights. Appreciate that. Thanks for everything you do to empower students and teachers to just do their best work. If anyone wants to connect with them, where can people find you after the session?
We'll be right here in the front or out in the hallway, but yeah, please, we're always welcome to have a chat and see what your situation is as well.
Wonderful, great. Because I knew there were some hands up that had some additional questions. So feel free to come up. Also, if you have additional questions around Jamf, around specifically to K-12, please go to the expo hall. Right in the middle there are Jamf engineers. We have our K-12 team here as well that can help and kind of add the K-12 spin on things. So thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day here at JNUC and have a good one.